That's how we start the show here on Friday morning, because it's finally the weekend. Music and dancing this morning. I hope it can wake you up out of bed, shake your bones, know that you're alive, and so you've got to be able to move all the parts of your body, and that means God has given you another day to stay alive. And so make sure you get up and go out there and do your best. But good morning to my gentlemen, Bright and AJ.
Yeah, good morning. So it's a wonderful weekend we're getting into, and that's how good we can have to start your weekend with that kind of music. It's exciting. I don't know, it's similar to the palm wine type of high life. The instruments are quite exciting. We'll have a lot more of that. But hey, welcome to a wonderful weekend, and it's going to be a weekend of action because the NPP is far away in Koforidua, and we'll be letting you in more on what's happening there. Apart from that, a build-up to the World Cup is also around us. The quarterfinals into the semi-finals also. So it promises a long, exciting weekend. We want you to be part of it. That's why this morning from now till 9, we'll just get you ready for the weekend.
For most people, the excitement started yesterday with the finale of the National Science and Maths Quiz. And I don't know if you saw the Warai piece on the Quizmaster's handbag. You know, with the whole security.
Standing there.
You know, nobody, no venture.
But I was happy that at least we had learned from, you know, previous instances of thefts, and they had at least provided security for the quiz mistress, for the bag, actually, just for the bag.
So what's someone was any person going to attempt to do that again?
No, not this year.
You never know. You never know. If you get away the first time, you might get away the second time.
Way. But unfortunately, in other news today, we're celebrating the 1 week of our former vice president as well. That it was
a week today he passed on.
Yes, he did, and so we'll be celebrating him this morning, and I'm sure we'll bring you tidbits of that as well as we have discussions this morning.
We're told of the church services at 3 p.m. this afternoon.
Yes, it will be at Ridge.
And I'm sure the family will have a lot of announcement to make, but it's exciting. So congrats to St. Peter's. I think that it was quite an upset because the Adisco guys were thinking that they were going to make it.
No, but I think earlier on in the race, we saw Adisco obviously had gone up. But I thought between Was and, Pesco, I really thought Was was going to win. Because the last thing I heard before I switched off the radio was the fact that they were leading with 41 points. And then I hear the riddles came in and then they, it toppled over.
Before it even started, I think we were celebrating the underdogs.
Exactly.
And then the ones we didn't expect to come out victorious. I just pulled through and then it was like, okay, we just take it like that.
That's one of those. That's just life. At least for the students, I'm happy it teaches them that in life you can start off early, but you end up being the, last person. It doesn't matter how you start. The most thing is to keep pushing on. However it goes for you, don't give up. You never know. You may just be at the end of winning. And so wherever you are, just keep pushing. You never know what God has in store for you.
Talk more about
Reverend
yes,
Doctor.
That's right. You can add it for free.
If you need counseling, her Twitter handle is Sweet Dr. Amma. But the news comes out shortly right after this. Let's start off from the camp of the NPP as billboards of aspiring national executives of the party compete for attention at the Koforidua Technical University. The New Patriotic Party will be holding its delegates conference to elect national executives over the weekend to steer the affairs of the party for the next 4 years.
Banners and posters of all sizes have been draped on buildings and pasted on every available space. Each day, new ones are added on. It's unclear what impact it may have on delegates. That of Freddie Blay, Stephen Ntim, Nana B, Samuel Uku, Kate Jemfua was spotted at every stop. When we visited the place for the conference, work was still ongoing on the field. The NPP National Delegates Conference is the first of its kind at the Koforidua Technical University. The Koforidua Technical University was established in 1997 as a polytechnic until it became a technical university last 2 years. Its vision is to be a reference point for world-class science and technology education and applied research. Currently, it has 5 faculties and 19 academic departments running bachelor programs and higher national diploma. Why the choice by the New Patriotic Party for its National Delegates Conference and elections is yet to have any historic connotation. Nevertheless, the Eastern region, specifically Chebi, is the hometown of the sitting president, Nana Akufo-Addo. Perhaps the choice might be to make the NPP much popular ahead of the 2020 elections. For the locals, it will be a time to cash in on sales as they hope for an improvement in the local economy from Thursday up to Sunday, when all activities will come to an end. Already hotels, guest houses, individual homes have all been booked over 3 months now. As far as Tafo, Suhom and other environs have had overflow bookings for rooms as well. Prices of the rooms have shot up as well due to the conference.
Still in the camp of the NPP, 1,000 police personnel have been deployed to the eastern regional capital, Koforidua, to ensure safety and protect lives and property during and after the National Delegates Conference of the ruling New Patriotic Party this weekend. The police personnel have been drawn from 4 regions, the Eastern, Greater Accra, Volta and Central regions, to maintain law and order in Koforidua. Eastern Regional Public Affairs Director of the Ghana Police Service, DSP Ebenezer Tete, said measures have been put in place to ensure safety and order. DSP Tete stressed that no one will be allowed to enter the Congress grounds without the required accreditation. He assured health personnel from the police hospital in Accra will be at the conference ground to provide healthcare services to the people. Now, the acting chairman of the NPP has promised to adequately resource the New Patriotic Party to win elections in 2020. Freddie Blay outlined his plan in the lead-up to the NPP Delegates Congress when he spoke on TV3.
I have not said that I, Freddie Blay, am buying vehicles for the constituents, as you've mentioned. I'm saying that I want to help empower the party at the constituency level. It's some of our challenges, including how to finance the party, how to empower the party, how to find resources for the party.
Now let's delve straight to the education sector because the GES has sacked 4 teachers of the Ejusuman Senior High School in the Ashanti region for sexually assaulting some students. Some 9 teachers of the school in March 2018 were interdicted after they allegedly abused some female students. Over a dozen of the students who testified said they were sexually abused in various forms. This development and other cases reported in some schools compelled Education Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku to warn that government will take on any regional director of education who fails to protect female students who are victims of sexual abuse by teachers in senior high schools. Still on education, pupils of Kadu District Assembly Basic School in the Pru East District of the Bonohafu region have been performing creditably despite the school's infrastructural and logistical challenges. It took the determination and hard work of the headmaster for 9 years to ensure standards improved. Here's a report by Peter Kwao Adato.
Kadwe is one of the settler island communities near Yeji in the Pru East District capital of the Bonohafu region. Like any other fishing community, education is not a priority in most homes, as children must support fishing activities at all costs. As for homes with trafficked child laborers, the least said about education, the better. Additionally, teachers refuse posting to the area due to its inaccessibility and lack of accommodation. However, the post of Enoch Kuba in Dibasum to head the Kadwe DA Basic School 9 years ago changed the situation. Without any swimming skills, Enoch accepted the challenge.
There are so many times you see teachers going elsewhere to the office to request for transfer, depending upon the situation on the ground. But I said, these children are Ghanaians, and the fact that I'm to serve the country, Ghana, wherever I am, no matter the challenge, I'm there for the job.
In spite of infrastructural challenges and lack of teaching materials, Enoch Kuba in Dibasum remained resolute, went from house to house preaching the importance of education while encouraging fellow teachers to remain in the community.
There are so many things that I came to meet here. When I came here, teachers were not regular in school and a whole lot of things. But when I came, I took my lap on the ground and I made sure that the teachers come to school as required.
The Kadwe DA Basic is performing creditably at all levels.
From KG1 to P6, we have 8 classes, but we are now 6. And that has helped the performance of the children. I quite remember we took circuit quiz competition for primary school, and my school took 3rd in the competition.
9 years on, school still lacks infrastructure, but enrollment and academic performance have improved. Now, the school can boast of a teacher's bungalow and life jackets to ensure safety on the lake, thanks to an oil company and the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. Their greatest desire is an improved infrastructure and furniture to boost teaching and learning.
And our president of Group Indum has urged government to deposit its revenue in local banks as a means to empower these banks to help attempt to develop the country. He explained these local banks have a critical role in keeping their local economies vibrant and growing, which will in turn foster general economic growth.
Dr. Papakwesi Indum noted the difficulties in the economy.
It forces many people to do all manner of strange things, invest monies in ventures that then turn out not to be profitable, not sustainable, and can't pay the monies back. And so we end up with high non-performing loans within the banking sector, and that is a problem for the system. So many banks in this system, many banks in the country are experiencing the high non-performing loan portfolio. So they are having that problem. And it is making liquidity a big challenge to many financial institutions in this country.
He noted there is no country that has developed and generated income and high level of prosperity that had depended on foreign banks.
Well, you know what happens to international organizations, financial institutions? Well, they go where they think is good. So if they've got money here, and today, America, the rates are good, the dollar is rising, they move their money to where it is rising, where things are good. Now, they are Ghanaian banks, and they are situated all over the country, where the big foreign banks will not go. So what do? We support them. We support them. When they fail in one area or two areas, we help them, strengthen them.
Dr. Indum advised the government, Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission to play a leading role to drive interest rates down.
It is time for the Bank of Ghana and the government of Ghana not to go and say interest rates should be this or should be that, but to direct the organizations they control not to go and place monies anywhere at more than T+3, Treasury bill rate plus 3% interest. And if that instruction went, they will also not go and compete unnecessarily with each other to offer T+20, 2+30, and T+30, and so on and so forth. The rates will come down.
Now, the minority spokesperson on energy, Adam Mutawakilu, has alleged that the chief executive officer of the cylinder manufacturing company failed to follow due process in awarding a 26 million cedi contract for the supply of plants and machinery. He has therefore expressed surprise at the dissolution of the board, instead adding that the minority next week will present its report on the matter, where they will lay the facts bare.
A letter signed by the Energy Minister, Boakye Ejaako, directed the chairman of the board of the Ghana Manufacturing Cylinder Company, Frank Boakye Agyen, to hand over documents and items belonging to the board to the company secretary. The letter did not state the reasons for the dissolution, but sources say recent tension between the CEO, Frances Essiem, and the board may have played a part. Minority spokesperson on energy, Adam Mutawakilu, was surprised at the president's decision.
When they both raised those critical issues and the minister set up the committee, they were given 2 weeks. We are in the 6th week. No report, and only to be slapped with the dissolution of the board. I believe that the president is protecting the CEO for the procurement breaches that he has so far done at the company. 2, it will boost her to continue to incur. As minority, when it came up, I made it clear that we will come out with our own report. And next week, our report will be out. And we are going to present the report vis-a-vis the relevant acts that we have.
He said the CEO had breached procurement processes, yet she is still being kept at post.
Charlotte Osei conducted a credible elections that nobody disputed. But because of procurement breaches, the president says she should go home where no competent law of competent jurisdiction had determined, before you now ask the Attorney General to prosecute. So you can see the hypocrisy of the president. An amount of 26 million Ghana cedis was awarded for the supply of plants and machinery to the company. 26 million Ghana cedis is beyond the threshold of the entity. It requires approval from the Public Procurement Authority. The question is that, did the CEO do that? No. When the board was constituted, did he send it to the board for retrospective approval? No. And that CEO should remain, but the board should be dissolved. It's a sad day for Ghana.
Now, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, has tasked government to make available to the public the report of the Inter-Accra Committee, which investigated a dispute between the board and Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company. Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, is of the view that a full disclosure will help determine whether the CEO was involved in any procurement breaches.
We are not fully satisfied. We believe strongly that the myriad of issues raised bordering on procurement breaches, bordering on corruption, bordering on malfeasance and maladministration, for which we know a report has already been occasioned. We want the report published. We want further and better action if indeed the CEO is complicit in any of the allegations that were raised against her by her own board. As it stands, the board is dissolved. That is good news. We do not think that the board should suffer a collateral consequence for exposing corruption. And so we think that, indeed, whatever the board saw for which they raised the issues they raised, if we are done with the investigations, we need to publish the report. But we don't think that the CEO continuing to function in that office is helping in the fight against corruption. We think that it sets a bad precedent for corporate governance in Ghana, and the CEO must suffer the same fate as the board. And if indeed those procurement breaches were occasioned, she must also be dragged to court to answer for them. We are hoping that within the next 1, maximum 2 weeks, we would see some action further from the president. We believe that for an executive president who wouldn't want to condone corruption and all of that, where a supervisory board indicts the CEO, we would have wished that the board's decision earlier to suspend the CEO would have been left to stand. If we don't get to the bottom of this, other CEOs of other state-owned companies may also now begin to see themselves as tin gods who may act not in accordance with the laws, but would also decide to go solo because their boss will not have any teeth at all to bite, even if they breach the laws.
Well, let's do some international news. The U.S. Navy stands ready to ensure free navigation and the flow of commerce, the U.S. Military Central Command said on Thursday, as Iran's Revolutionary Guards warned they would block oil shipments through the strait if necessary. With tensions rising over the strategic waterway, the European Union is proposing a plan for salvaging a multinational nuclear deal with Tehran after Washington withdrew from Iranian president told leaders in Paris and Berlin on Thursday that the package did not go far enough. Some senior military commanders have threatened in recent days to disrupt oil shipments from the Gulf countries if Washington tries to strangle Tehran's exports. And that's it for news for this morning. My name is Anthony Jackson. New Day returns shortly after this break.
There is love in the air. Forget all of your troubles, forget all of your problems. When you see through your heart, you find love all around you. You find love all around you. There is love in the air. Forget all of your troubles, forget all of your problems. When you see through your heart, you find love all around you. You find love all around you.
Right, and some scintillating music there to make your weekend a great and exciting one. Yemi Win is the name of the group. Later on, we'll let them tell us exactly what that name means, but they'll be here dishing out more of those tunes for your weekend relaxation. New day is on, and time now to take a look at what the newspapers have. It's bubbly weekend, and certainly Koforidua will remain high on the agenda of all newspapers. Amma is ready with all of them.
Right, let's do the newspaper headlines. As she said, Koforidua will certainly be ready with all the headlines this morning. But Ghanaian Times says we'll maintain fiscal discipline after exiting IMF program. That's coming from the vice president. Obviously, he's saying this because of some downtrends we have been recording, but he says they will be able to maintain that fiscal discipline we're all worried about, and we'll see how that goes. Also, the police deploy 1,000 personnel ahead of the MPP confab. Then the county GVG case is still in the headlines. It says GRA is to oppose that suit. Then, of course, 4 Ejusuman SHS teachers have been sacked over the sexual misconduct which has been investigated, and that is the final outcome of that situation. Moving on to other newspaper headlines coming in this morning. BNFT says pharmaceutical industry in perspective, and they give you graphs giving you what exactly is happening in the pharmaceutical industry. Also, capital market is ready for 4.46 billion Ghana cedi test. That's coming from Yamwa. Then also pharmaceutical company industry hits $1 billion in value. If you are there, I'm sure you're making all the money you need to make. Then, of course, Access Bank has also appointed a new MD. Then the government spends close to about 556 million Ghana cedis on free SHS in its first year. We'll see how that goes when we sit down to discuss the paper later. Moving on to the Finder, it says MPP takes Koforidua by storm. Dr. Bawumia, the Vice President, and the National Executives have arrived today for the annual delegates conference in Koforidua. Then also entries for the 23rd GJA Awards have been opening. You remember we won the Best Morning Show last year, and we certainly plan to hold that title. Then also St. Peter's wins 2018 National Science and Maths Quiz competition. Then the president also has this to say. He says Ghana and South Africa have fostered strategic partnership. The president is currently in South Africa on a visit. Then also commercializing research findings is critical. That's coming from the minister. So these are the stories on the front lines of the Finder. And of course, as Bright said, MPP and Koforidua are in the headlines this morning. Moving on to other newspapers, we have Daily Graphic. And you see the St. Peter boys raising their trophy high. They do win the quiz, and it says St. Peter's are champs for the National Science and Maths Quiz. Also, President Akufo-Addo tells his MPP delegates to maintain the gains of 2016. Then, of course, we'll be celebrating the memorial service today for the former Vice President Emisa Arthur, and that's to say that the family will announce the one-week celebration later at this memorial service, which will take place at 3 p.m. at the Ridge Church. Then also the Transport Minister urges the GPHA boss to drive reforms. So these are some of the stories there. We'll delve deep into it, but I'm sure St. Peter's and its associates are still celebrating over that victory. Then Free SHS gets 554 million Ghana cedi funding, again in its first year. Then President rehashes and says maintains 2016 gains to the the people who are contesting this weekend at Koforidua. Then also a story that has hit the newspapers is George Jijomensa, who says she had sex with Amanziba, and Amanziba also comes back to confess that indeed he had sex with the AIDS ambassador. Well, that's their own individual and private matter. But also NDC's Pesa White is saying the Ochihini should be arrested over Emisa Arthur's death. As to why he's saying exactly that, we'll find out. But there has been back and forth talks concerning what Ochihini said in the newspapers. Anyway, the Herald also says Energy Minister has been accused of shielding Francis Esiam in the GCMCL rot. Then also there's confusion as, confusion hits Blaze 275 bribe buses as John Boyd contradicts acting chairman Nana Kumia and STC pulled into foggy $11 million deal. Then also FDA warns pregnant women against using bleaching pills. Then finally, the minister cries mama over fleeing dollar. So these are some of the interesting stories coming in this morning.
Well, right? The dollar is fleeing.
Yes, it's fleeing. So he's crying.
All right. Okay, so I think the big one on the Daily Graphic is the St. Peter's story. I am getting excited that at least finally science is beginning to look more attractive to students. Okay, in the past, you would find contests like these for other areas. You wouldn't necessarily find a science contest. It's about 25 years since this thing started. Good, but the way it has attracted the young guys, we saw, if you take a look at the middle page of the Daily Graphic, the photographs there, far away in Kwetiakwa, the home of St. Peter's, the crowd on the street when they won. If you go to the National Theatre, the enthusiasm, the excitement. I guess that it will pull a lot more people to now get to like the subject. Right. In the past, teachers of science haven't made the subject that attractive. I mean, a science teacher, particularly the one that has to do with calculations, the physics and the rest, they come out like some kakai something. And so a lot of students were shying away from science. But from what is happening and the euphoria we're seeing from this National Science and Maths Quiz, I believe strongly that it will push a lot more young people into liking the subject and opting to study more of the science and the natural sciences, not the social science. So kudos to the organizers, St. Peter's, to great staff there. Let's look out for who wins next year.
Yeah, Brad, I'm happy about National Science and Maths because, well, I had the opportunity to participate in it. And I think for one, over the years, it's become one that huddles all Ghanaians together and also helps us to revisit our alma mater and talk about it and, you know, hype the schools. At least the younger ones also get excited because they're about, you know, entering SHS. So when they know, okay, St. Peter's one and they have planned to go there, they're super excited about it. And like you said, because now National Science and Maths, because it's all out there, everyone is like, okay, let me go and try the sciences. You never know, maybe I may get onto the platform, have this quiz and, you know, bring some glory to my school. So we're happy that we've been able to get another platform to get children excited about science and math, because we know we struggle with it, I mean, in the past, but now it looks like we're moving away from there. And kudos to the organizers, 24, 25 years down the line, and they're still doing great. And kudos to the young men and women who went out there. I mean, when school ends, that's when you are calmed a bit to be able to come and do this. And it's not amusing because by then you've literally finished school, and so children are hoping they'll go home to their friends, family, but then they do well, taking away all the social media, taking away all the entertainment, just because you want to put your school out there on a national platform. So kudos to you. I think they indeed, all of them are champs, not only St. Peter's.
Let's tie that into the 4 teachers from Ejisuman Senior High School who have been sacked over sexual misconduct. It's a phenomenon that is indeed across the country. Ejisuman is what is in the news today, but if you scan around, there are several reports of teachers who engage in sexual relationships with their students. It's a worrying trend because of what it can do to the student. I mean, some students, female students, will not necessarily study because, I mean, she knows that the teacher can help her to pass and move on to the next stage. So the end result is that when you're writing WASI, then you have no one to push you up, and so you come up with very bad results. It's a very, for me, issue that GES will have to take seriously. I think that various headmasters and headmistresses on the various compounds can play a huge role. Look, it is not difficult to monitor these students. I know that the homes or bungalows of teachers are no-go area for students. I mean, when we were in school, you could not go to a female teacher's bungalow. If you were a female student, you couldn't go to a male teacher's bungalow. You're not allowed to do that. It's out of bounds. I don't know what is happening. These days, these issues are being reported. Does it mean that those rules are being relaxed? We're told by the story that some other teachers have been, they were only cautioned and they've been transferred to other places. I really don't know what went into the caution statement, but I guess that whatever is being done is in the best interest of students. But for teachers who engage in that, I think that it's really...
There is a fundamental problem.
Yes, because I do not know why a student, female, you want to teach, you end up having sexual affairs with her. Exactly what is it to do? Because it's also the fact that we now have more young teachers in the system.
I think so.
In the past, I mean, most teachers have their wives around them on the various compounds. So I'm wondering, maybe GES should begin to take a look at some of these things, that young teachers who are posted to some of these body houses must necessarily have wives and be with them on the compound. It can't stop it. Other than that, we might be paying a lot for these young ones, but at the end of the day, we may be losing them because of some of these things.
I hope these punishments are punitive enough, and I hope GES constantly does, you know, the checking and the revisions and having their teachers sit down to discuss these issues, because it's not, like Brian, you said, it's not only Ejisuman, it cuts across, and even from SHS to universities. So I'm looking at us actually talking about it on a daily basis, GES taking it up as a problem within their sector and making sure that they clamp down on it, because it's unfortunate. And I, for one, it was worrying with the Ejisuman issue because you were giving it to them as a form of punishment. In order to punish them, you ask them to, you know, stroke your manhood until you ejaculate. That is wrong by all standards. And for me, I think that's where mental health also comes in. Do we assess these, you know, teachers regularly? Do we check if they're stable mentally? Every one of us could easily tip onto that side. And I, for one, don't want them to just be punished, removed from school, punished for it and taken away. But we have to deal with them, reform them so that they understand that there is a fundamental problem with what they're doing. It's wrong. Because taking them away from the, you know, school environments, they they could very well go out there into the streets and be doing it to young people in the area, because what is it? It's the urge for that sexual activity that they're looking out for, because they don't want to pay for it. They probably just want to have fun and go away. And so if we don't deal with it, just taking them away from the school environment will not change what the problem is. The fact is inherent. They want to have sex and they're doing it the wrong way. So try and help them by dealing with them. If they need to see a psychologist, make sure we get that done in addition to the punishment we are meting out. But anyway, I'm sure we have time for us to rant. Of course, the MPP will be going to Koforidua. Brighton itself will be there. There'll be everyone there. I'm sure the rooms are also all fully booked. Hotels will be making all their money. But I'm happy they have a sanitation committee that promises to keep Koforidua clean by the time they leave. I hope they live to task. I hope they do so.
The last time Komla Kluche was at the NDC conference in, I think, Sunyani or Kumasi, one of them. I mean, after the program, a whole field was messed up. Yeah. So let's see how this promise.
But Bright, even the sticking of the posters on the walls, and it's not allowed. So I'm wondering why we allow it when, you know, political parties decide to go out.
They hardly get removed. There's just a few of the posters.
It will just fade away. The rain will beat it many times and then it will tear down. But if we are the lawmakers and we're saying it is wrong, whether it's in Accra or Koforidua, it should be wrong. And we should be seen taking the right steps so that citizens can follow. But let's move on to Western Region to rant with Eric. We're talking about vote buying. With a recent MPP confab, we've heard that there have been allegations concerning vote buying, whether the buses have been alleged to be a source of, you know, vote buying. Some monies have been, you've seen on social media, people's faces splashed over monies that are being doled out, all in an attempt to win votes. Is this right? Is this wrong? Should we be doing that?
I like the 50 cities bundle.
With a face on it.
Yeah. If I get one for the weekend, I'll be fine.
Indeed you will. Mr. Ntim, I guess Bright is speaking to you and your camp if it's true that that's what is happening out there. But let's step out and see what you have to say about vote buying in general.
Barring any changes, members of the governing New Patriotic Party will go to the polls to elect new national executive to steer the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. One issue that has caught the attention of many Ghanaians, both NDC and MPP and other political parties, and some people who do not support any political party, is a promise made by an aspiring chairman of the party, Freddie Blay, to give the party some 275 buses. Indeed, he has fulfilled his promise by giving the party first 100 of those buses. Now, some people are raising questions as to whether this amount to vote buying or this is a pure act of generosity on his part. This morning on Daily Rant, we want to find out what people think about this act.
Opening, me person me catch it here for you no me say and what's some more cano. One kasa no pay a radio station be a friend. Obi oya popra NDC ni pass here kwara. O bumpy NDC from Panifuachi. Say dear Freddie Blay. Dear Freddie Blay no Debbie Yanka Ghana Assembly. Debbie Freddie Blay no a individual.
Freddie Blay ye ruling party.
Debbie
chairman.
But Freddie Blay ye
problem with Ghana ha.
Debbie
NTB MPP Assembly power just less than 2 years. No mo je kaya ye sika. Na mo bo na mo dey campaign. And then which mean $4.2 billion. Ekoto cars chairman party.
Yeah, Freddie Blay no back before na and before na Rasulala. Where Freddie Blay ni bottom. Na na don't go for the Kotoka command papa.
Different stations I say a party decision. As some can Freddie Blay nankasa Accra based radio station say a party for no mobile posse or mobile sadia no but on a chairman or so acting chairman into no afano so into a Freddie Blay.
Okay, Eriko, me be so wasem. Una wuni ejina hanum say obisi asasa wonu wate ho nsem sika no MPP sika ana Freddie Blay
sisi ani yenyim baby na sika ni filiba loan or say bosia no makobo bosia
no transport enye ni papa kopedia anya ni papa kopedia ani ti ni papa ko betimi aye sa de we mana yi
and the 4.2 million na ojeji kaya yo sika momo de campaign masa momo enja
officer Mimisa wasem. Oh, this year, 2016, Abana Koto, you know, and only the only year from that 2016, ambulance has to Ghana Hana. And the only time, and from
Paris Sabotin, cars e wo ho no wan to bia nka ho a wo ko Ghana police a every bia about to cars mo nti enka say your mama to ambulance nti sa ambulance be car priceable thing car be ko
adwuma bia mu no say adwuma wura e ko to ne car be to adwuma mu that means say on tore kese ne car na what are you talking about? Me nowadays me to me who the way NDC for aya no mo ye o made no wunu say sisi ano individual kra ye na de a no de akofra say party no obi won sika debi o
ade no ye wo he
debi o
NDC election na wo so the cars e be good port mon ko to aba na mon beji eye sa na ye kan Freddy Blay oti nzima ye nim say Freddy Western regional onwini FPP chairman me say I will be happy because it's a westerner but kwai offer so no na ye me say ye hia sika after ambulances Freddy Blay aye ruling party chairman on is come to
won na me no wonya adwen na me no wonya adwen Ghana na hia sika de akota ambulance anya MPP na hia sika de akota ambulance
Freddy Blay no one na this cano
Freddy Blay already say na just opinion ma mehu say tama no mo power no omo Ghana sika to me de ye omo ankasa omo ade party in power no wrong. Okay, the party in power in Jessica fine, but Freddy Blay no for bottom can be Ghana ye. What are you talking about? He is trying to I vie for position. In office this is what has been the daily on daily basis. What kind of cast say he's using it to instigate all the delegates to vote for him.
Freddy Blay no for can be Ghana ye. Na nkofo na omo koto aba na okoto cast ama omo ya hefo. Aside them people, no here for Ghana for it is a ambulance now. So who visit say who be leading a ruling party. You cannot use some of the money to buy ambulance. You hear no from Boa Bayabaso.
Now who to go to Abanimi? Who to go to Abanimi? Remember, so we are delegates. We are delegates. Who go to Abanimi? Inside the internal sort or the Kota or more or the more or more. Directly, the man go home. But me honestly speaking, I no cross them say. Asema make us time ma Freddy Blay the buses and buy no eno na metumi aka say Freddy Blay say we yes ade na wo pass delegate no what to abana ma because the why no obi antumi nya bi enti no o wini a MPP for na nkasa bi beka say udi sika na wo de age power no o ti ase but aside that no the opani ka say Ghana hia ambulance no me pa na chawo.
But should it be the case that you about to abia no I do obi che bibi or do ye bibi me
and then who say dey bi e kasi ashase me di kan ka kire o say o secondary schools say e kasi e ba ba yi prefect school prefect mpo a ko secondary school na ko bisa ankwara nkete kura ashase yeso omo ye
eye say e be ko so yesa e be ko eye say e be ko so yesa this is a high level and there Freddy Blay take us o etina sisi o take Toyota vans etina be ko basis carry it say who are drain papa ebebu mine no
me ba do tie me I go 2016 national election e bi che ya twasiambo any matches are bibi shame. What are you talking about?
Into 2016 so be a cherry samba or you there already encourage do be soon to back next time. Do you know what the delegates would demand?
If sir if way me post be wa ha na me yimi bottom sika so be anje 10 Ghana tin ko fa ko ni ya. What's your problem about that? Say man for me sambo eduma me confess him and you na if me bottom me fifre sika na me ya. What's your problem? Me here Ghana for binimu a when ni pathway no ma be kan sa asem we a me support but me hu say NDC no obi o ye guru NDC NDC no be gina o be kan sa asem we a sabio mpenfo cham na ne ho kura ye hi because wo sa no mo so ye party no Ghana no akoye two parties no adia anu ti no enne aduru we su ti no kan ho asem enti ochina aduru we su sa no so be kan ho asem
adia mu ye yesu ye be ye bi se ne be ya sani ebe ye mbe president obi akoto aba e so ukoto case ko se ukoye ye the beginning of corruption. I'm being honest with you. You want me be use $4.2 million akoto case and the etese me be di chairman masa me corrupt. It's just simple.
Na sani anything I watch this is the time one almost benye sikadi efiri mo because time no so na kwatena so wie pe unim no and this is the time a ombenye sikadi adi efiri mo anu nti na omo so awie mo one more almost 30 presidents you know they came out to defend it vigorously say ade omo ya no eye trodo Inta nentina sabe kutu ko katere na adesansa ne hutuntum.
Ena me say basis no cry ye de ba mo de ye de ba mo egu porto na ye se kwato na beji yo.
So that's where the views of the gentleman I have with me here about Mr. Freddie Blay's decision to give the party some buses. This has been your favorite show, Daily Rant with me, Eric Yawaje from Takrady.
Good morning once again, and thanks for staying there. Now, let's take a look at the newspapers this morning. The front pages are filled with stories. Ghanaian Times is talking about the Vice President suggesting that we will maintain fiscal discipline after exiting IMF program. We'll talk about that. The Daily Graphic, St. Peter's are champs. That's the National Science and Mathematics quiz. The BNFT talks about capital market ready for 4.46 billion test. The finder, NPP takes Kufuor by storm. The Vice President is expected to arrive today with delegates also expected. The guide maintained 2016 gains, Nana tells NPP. Some other stories captured by these newspapers. The NPP has announced that it is not sending representatives to all media houses. And so this morning we will not have a member of the NPP here. My guest is therefore the former member of parliament for Adentan constituency, a former presidential staffer, Honorable Kweju Edwasari. Good morning. Hope you're doing great.
By His grace, all is well.
Thanks for your time. Now, let's start the conversation from Daily Graphic this morning. Memorial service today for Emisa Arthur. Page 23 says that there will be a church service at the Ridge Church here in Accra at 3 p.m. today. And that's in memory of the late former Vice President, Pakusi Emisa Arthur. The family will use the opportunity to announce the one-week service today, the final date and burial arrangements by the church, family and state to the general public. Mr. Emisa Arthur passed on a week ago today at the 37 Military Hospital here in Accra. Mr. Brasari, now the family says it wants to a memorial service for today, the man who was Vice President of Ghana some few years ago. What can we remember him for?
Right. Good morning to your viewers and yourself, your producers, and all your crew. I think we've all been hit by such a blow as a country, and the manner in which it happened even sent, or let me say, aggravated the shock that was greeted with this whole thing, because this is someone who, let me say, probably a few hours earlier, he was strong and everybody thought, he was just going about his daily, or something he does frequently, and then all of a sudden we find this incident takes place. So it's a big blow, not only to us in NDC, but to the entire country, because this is a servant of this country. That's how I see him. Over the years, I think he has paid his dues, right from academia all the way through politics and also our financial sector and all of that. So I think Ghanaians have really lost a gem, a father. I worked with him at the Flagstaff House, and he stands tall when it comes to matters of discipline and all those aspects of, if you want to, take his attributes, whatever he stands for and his principles. He's a gentleman, and I think over the years he's paid his dues, and those are the things that I believe a good number of Ghanaians will remember him for. I believe the hardest hit is the ex-President Mahama, we all know,
right.
His immediate, let me say, deputy. And he was on a trip out there. He had to cut down, or let me say, break into that trip and then come down to Ghana to just come and commiserate with the family, as well as several others. The former chief of staff was also on a course outside. He also had to cut off his trip and come down. So several people have had to, abruptly, this whole thing has disorganized so many things.
Whatever they do.
So we just want to continue to express our condolences to the wife, the children, and then the entire family, as well as all the entire fraternity of the NDC and Ghanaians as a whole. So this afternoon's program, we all will be around at least to make it as beautiful as possible, so that at least whatever memories that people have of him, we can all recount it, and also let posterity be or remember him for whatever he came to do as a servant of God.
Right, I'm grateful. The attire is black, 3 p.m. at the Red Church here in Accra. Right, now let's touch on other issues. The Finder this morning says NPP takes Ufodua by storm. Dr. Baumia, national executives arrive today for annual delegates conference. Now, if you take a look at the Ghanaian Times this morning also, another story from the NPP conference fallout. On page 4, it says that MP called for probe into Freddie Blay's purchase of 275 buses. That's so far the biggest story fallout from the Congress this weekend. The MP is asking that the purchase of 275 buses for constituencies by the acting chairman be probed. This, he said, is in line with the campaign promise to resource the party. No, the purchase of the bus is in line with the campaign promise to resource the party in the run-up to the upcoming National Delegate Congress. The move has raised eyebrows. GII is also asking for some kind of probe into how the acting chairman, who is aspiring to be elected as a substantive chairman, got money to procure buses at $11 million, $3 million of which have been paid. Now, the suggestion, Honorable Domankwa, is that Mr. Freddie Blay is a public official. He chairs currently GMPC. He's worked for some state institutions. The argument between the fact that he's a private person who has sourced for funds to purchase the buses, and also the fact that he chairs the GNPC board, and so is a public official, and so some probes should be done into these purchase. Where do you stand?
For me, as a businessman or someone who understands business, and I think I've also read the Electoral Commission law, or let me say the law that sets it up, and it gives every political party or the space for any political party to set up fundraising or let me say businesses or establish entities that can raise funds, they can use to raise funds and all of that. So the business aspect of it is not a problem to me.
Right.
So if a political party decides to set up a business to, become a source of funding towards their activities as a party, I really don't see anything wrong with that. But as to whether this whole program is an idea of the political party itself, is another matter. Because here we are, if you heard from the other one of the other contestants, which is Stephen Team, he is crying foul the fact that he thinks it's an attempt by Freddie Blay to bribe the electorate or to buy votes, you know, with this whole program. And it doesn't look like this whole thing was properly thought through with the political party, the MPP political party as a whole. So you are not getting the party to come in to accept the whole concept as a party concept. Rather, it is Freddie Blay as an individual who is seeking to, according to his spokesperson, Richard Nyama, seeking to create a certain business module that they want to use to support constituencies and all of that. But to be honest with you, the explanation they've given does not really sit well with a lot of Ghanaians, including myself. Because we all lived in Ghana, or we've been living here. We know Freddie Blay, we know all his businesses, all the businesses he claims he wields and all the political contacts. We know him, we know where he lives, we know the things he does and all of that. And only a few years ago, we all know Daily Guide, which is, I think, one of his prime businesses. They had to lay off staff. Okay, not too long ago. They laid off several staff until recently when they started, you know, revamping the whole thing. His wife, his wife's business, his wife was the MD or chief executive of the company at the time and all of that. If that company was so powerful and was doing very well, okay, according to what he's saying, would his wife leave that job and go and take an ambassadorial appointment and all of that? So, trust me.
Maybe she wants to serve her country.
You see, these things don't gel, okay? They don't sit well in the minds of Ghanaians. People believe that he's either using his position as the board chairman for GMPC to, you know, obtain all these favors. Certainly, there are business people who want to. The oil business is, of course, one of the most lucrative entities around town at the moment. And seeking a way into that arena, you will need certain push-ups here and there. And he's sitting in that position. It's a way for him to get favors here and there. So if people are calling for a probe into it, I am all for it. I think that people who want to lead, okay, including myself, some of us politicians have been called thieves because of some semblance of, let me say, kind of way we do things, the manner in which all of a sudden, when everybody knows us some few days ago, or few months ago, a few years ago, the struggles we were going through, then all of a sudden we get into a certain political appointment, and the next moment we have turned into something else. I mean, all kinds of largesse are being distributed here and there. And we are talking 275
buses. Mini buses.
Let's
so $11 million.
Yes, $11 million from, according to what the guy said. $11 million, it's no joke. Okay, it's no joke. And go and ask the banks themselves whether they have access to. I mean, some banks are struggling because they don't even have that kind of, let alone one individual claiming he has the clouds, he has this, he has that. When a few years ago we all knew this character in this country. So for me, if they are calling for a probe, it's in its right place. Let's look at
because of his relationship with some state institutions.
Yeah, certainly. Okay. Conflict of interest here and there. I mean, we have laws in the country, and we have to allow those laws to. Let's test those laws and see whether nobody is impugning any negative, or let me say, accusing him of anything negative. If it turns out that whatever probe that is undertaking exonerates him, he did it through the right sources, and yeah, he's a good man to go. Again, one will want to, for some of us who are in politics, who see these things, they are gimmicks. You understand? I can bet my last peso on it.
The purchase of the buses? Or what?
If he loses this election, this whole thing will not see the light of day. The buses won't go? It won't go. Mark my words here. Oh, okay. Mark it anywhere. Let him lose this election tomorrow. And that's the end of story.
The masses won't get to the consequences.
Okay. You understand? So for me, the sincerity about this whole thing is another matter. You see. But that's where the problem is. We have monetized politics to the point where now it looks like if you are going to contest any political position, be it a small, even if it's a branch position in your party, you need so much money to go around and talk to people. Just a branch position before you come to the constituency and you come to region and national. National, you have to go around the whole country.
So our democracy has become expensive because of some of these things.
Exactly. And so if people begin to raise the bar at this level, chairman level, what will happen when we get to flag bearership? Contest.
But Mr. Tim, for instance, who is blaming or accusing Mr. Blay of vote by himself, agreed to his last conference before he left for Kofodia that he also gave some vehicles to the party somewhere in 2014 thereabout. So, is that something that politicians do? This vote buying thing that cannot be stopped?
Well, if someone will say this jargon we all carry, gettable is doable. If you have it, you do it. You understand? But if you don't have it, you present yourself the way you are. You see, I think that what is required to be a leader in a political party or in your country goes beyond whether or not you have exactly. You understand? I was telling a group of people yesterday that we are going for regional contest. The kind of people we are looking for people who have the ability to decipher what intelligence means. You understand? People who can organize, people who can put a team together, who can unravel issues, who can understand where to enter and get results and all of that. Not just anybody who can pay. Because yes.
But does it also take it that we should look for someone with the ability to raise resources, to raise funds for organization, so that Mr. Blay is in a position to raise that amount of money to go into this? Is that not one key thing we should be looking out for? Ability to raise resources?
You see, what is important? Somebody asked a question that a few years ago, the party was in crisis. They were going around the markets using scratch cards, begging Kayaye to make contributions for the party. Where was all those business contacts and whatever that today he claims he has? At the time when they were on Makola, I remember the finance minister and his wife in Makola, doling out these scratch cards for people to buy, to raise funds before the elections. Okay, so what happened? Just less than a year and a half, these same people who were doing Lala Sulala in the middle of Makola market, today claim they have the contacts, they have all the resources around town to be able to raise so much money. $3 million down payment and another $8 million yet to be paid and all of that. For me, I think it makes the whole democracy thing sound very, very, let me say, well, I don't know, at this point, it's too early to use certain words, but it lends credence to what people say out there, that politicians are thieves. You understand?
So should we go back to the conversation on financing political parties? State financing political parties? I mean,
well, it's an issue we should all address. You see, unfortunately for us, we have laws in the electoral laws. Okay, people would have to, or let me say, political parties have to present their annual the financial report and all of that. Go and check when any political party presented theirs and all of that, whether people are complying with these laws. And even when they do so, who has the power to scrutinize this whatever has been presented and raise questions here and there. You understand? So it's like a field day. Do it anyhow you please. People come on radio. I have given so much and I bought so much and we took so much from this person. Do you know how much this man contributed before and all of that? And they say these things with that careless abandon, just to tell Ghanaians that yes, this my brother spent so much money, so he deserves this position that you've given to him and all of that. People are buying their positions, becoming board chairs because they paid so much. Others are being chief executives because they paid. It's not fair.
I will continue this conversation. We'll also take a look at even the delegates who are voted. I mean, if these are people who are on their own and can say no to some of these resources, we will be in a better position to ensure that we elect the best. But let me introduce my second guest. Fortunately for us, we've managed to pull him from home. He's not gone to Koforidua yet. A member of the NPP's team, Gary Nemako, legal practitioner, also here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're great. And thanks so much for joining us. We thought we're not going to have a rep from the NPP.
Well, we are gunning to go to Koforidua this morning.
Yes.
I heard that Swagger is making all sort of fish on the network. So I had no choice.
To quickly rush him,
but to come here and deal with him before I go to Koforidua.
Yes. All right, welcome. So all is set for Koforidua, but the biggest news is about the fact that the 275 buses that has come in. Mr. Tim is crying foul. Some have suggested that, well, Mr. Blay is a private person. He has businesses, and so can purchase those buses. Others think that, well, he sat on some boards, therefore he has a public role. He's a public official, so some probe should go into this. Where do you stand?
Well, good morning to you, Bright. Good morning to you, Honorable, and good morning to your viewers. I think that people who are raising concerns about these buses do not really have the full information. And sometimes a lack of information make people talk in the manner that they talk. If you have information as to exactly what has gone in, I'm not sure you even raise query at all. It is a facility.
Right.
It's a facility that they are taking from Universal Merchant Bank. He, Mr. Blay, has not paid a dime. All right? It's a facility that I've raised from Universal Merchant Bank to buy those buses, all right, to give to the constituencies to ensure that these buses are run by also a transport organization. The proceeds thereof will be paid back to the bank, and if there are anything that in excess, we take care of the constituencies, as time goes on. Because see, what has happened in our political discourse is that most people they come on the ground, and I think it can bear testimony to it. They come from your constituencies, they come all the way to the headquarters all the time, looking for money, financial assistance, and all that. And I think the concept is to decentralize assistance and empower the constituencies, and within the party.
Right.
So that if for instance there is any resource that you require, you don't need the side to come up. But there's something down there for you. So he has not paid money, physical money, to go and purchase these vehicles. This is a facility given by the bank, all right? Bought by the bank. The company is going to be run by a private transport organization. The process are going to be used to pay for the facility. And then whatever is left is going to use to take care of the constituencies. That is the whole concept.
So the buses, as we say, could be in the name of
yes.
Not in the name of the NPP.
It cannot. You see, it's a credit facility. Some of these things, if you don't understand, there's a case I'm working on. I will not mention the client's name anyway, but it's a similar arrangement. What they did was that they imported vehicles. I think about 6,000 vehicles for taxi projects. Okay, the vehicles were all in the name of the company. All right, the vehicles were supplied to individuals, to corporate organizations, to GPRTUs, and all that. Payments were being effected through a banking facility. All right? Now, when you finish paying, then they will now transfer ownership of the vehicle into your name. Until you finish paying, title does not vest in you. And you pay the money, the principal, with interest. So, for instance, if Bright took one of the vehicles for taxi, when you finish paying, then they will now transfer ownership of the vehicle into your personal name. That was the facility, but that was the arrangement. So it's a credit arrangement that is being given. These buses are not in the name of Mr. Blay, and they cannot be in his name because he has not paid for the vehicles.
Okay.
You do get it.
I think I have understood.
I've heard persons like Mr. Batos Azim who possibly do not have the full information, saying that they have to probe Mr. Blay. They should probe him because where did he get the money from? What's the source of financing for these cars? That's why I say if you don't have information, you make it talk toward a certain line of direction.
Okay.
Because as it stands now, if for instance I have credibility from any bank, and I say, look, I need financing for this visionary project. I need about 10, 20, 30 buses. And they believe that when they give the buses to you, you can guarantee the payment. But the buses are not going to be used by me myself. It's a business. So when the buses come, I say, okay, I give Honorable Swaga one for his transport company. I give you one for your company. Run the buses. Pay the proceeds on the buses to this particular financial institution. All right? And then that money is used to finance the project, to finance the payment of the buses. Now, don't forget that the bank is not a Father Christmas.
Right.
The bank is doing this to also make money. So what the bank will do, after they have paid the principal sum, you pay the interest thereon. After paying the interest thereon, they will now vest title in your name. That is where the bus now becomes your personal bus. Right. That is what is happening now.
So you have explained
it cannot be that.
The buses are not in the name of Mr. Freddie Blay.
No.
Is the timing right? Now let's talk about Mr. Tim's issue. Is the timing right?
What is wrong with the timing?
Mr. Tim thinks that once we are going into a contest and you do that, particularly at this time, you're buying votes. In fact, others have suggested it is vote buying.
Okay, all right. You see, if I'm not careful, from where I stand, somebody will say that, well,
okay, you're against
Gary is here on the show campaigning for person A or person B. You see, don't put me in that fix because when it comes to the internal dispute resolution mechanism, that committee, I sit on the committee.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
Right.
For me, what I would say is that everybody and the approach they want to go with their campaign to attract the voters or the delegates who are there to elect you. Also, guys gone to elections, Adenta. You know what he did?
What did I do?
You know. Please. He was able to attract the voters on the side.
Did you see it right or wrong?
No, he was able to attract the voters on the side to make sure that at least you give them water, you give them, transport to go. And when you meet the delegates, don't need them to go home. When you meet them, the transport, you give them to go home. Everybody and the strategy and the style. I will not sit here, but you see, don't forget, you must empower the members of the party themselves. You must empower them. Sometimes it's so frustrating that you sit in your little corner office and they come to you, they want assistance, you pay school fees, you are paying wedding expenses, you are paying funeral expenses, sometimes I keep saying, if the person had the means, he will not come to you.
Okay.
He will not come to you. So empower them. Empower them. This idea of Mr. Blay, I think is a very good concept. You know why? Because in the long term, when the payments of these buses are completed and the buses are now transferred in the for the constituencies, it can work for the benefit of the people. Now, if there's a bus working for you in the constituency and the processes are being given to you, you have to come to Accra to the chairman's house for financial aid, you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Okay. You understand the thing? Okay. So it's a very good concept, and we should commend him for that.
Right.
Okay.
The question here is whether or not Mr. Freddie Blay has the capacity to purchase these buses. Because listen, yesterday,
that is why I've told you that he has not purchased the buses.
Okay, so he said that
it's a credit facility.
Richard Nyama said, and when the bus were being outdoored at the port, there was a press conference with media people live from the port being addressed by Richard Nyama. I saw it. And then when Richard was called on Joy FM yesterday in the morning, again he went ahead to say that, no, it was 2 days ago, 5:30 p.m. They had this program before the 6 p.m. news. Evans Mensah asked him, and he said they had paid, the man himself had paid 3 million.
No.
Right. Listen to me.
Right, I am
said,
to you
please,
because I have the benefit.
Please.
I have the benefit.
So who should we believe?
I have the benefit of having seen the legal documentation on these arrangements.
This is where the problem is. Okay.
I have not heard.
When the man who is supposed to be the spokesperson on these buses is claiming that they have paid 3 million. The entire money is 11 million. They have paid 3 million cash, according to this man. This is on record. Okay? And you are here saying it's a facility. So who should we believe? Who?
Then, as a result of this, should we probe this issue?
That is the point.
Probing for what? Okay. You are going to probe for what, Bright? I'm telling you.
Find out, for instance.
No. I'm telling you. The clear picture. No, what is the clear picture? You see, I've not heard Richard say what you are talking about.
Please, it's on record.
No, I didn't hear Richard say
do you have to hear it?
I am telling you. I've not heard Richard say this. What I'm telling you is that
this
is a credit facility
Did you
arrangement.
Hear it?
Sugar, you wait a minute.
No, I'm asking
I'm saying,
perhaps
I'm saying it's a credit facility arrangement with Universal Merchant Bank.
So Mr. Blade did not pay anything.
I'm giving you information.
So Mr. Blade did not pay anything.
I don't believe you.
So if that's this disbelief, we probe into the matter. But we'll very soon be taking you to Koforidua, and our team is ready. They will tell us exactly what's happening there. Let's go to Koforidua. Community is there.
That, of course, the ruling New Patriotic Party has a big event coming up right here tomorrow, and I'm talking about the party's national delegate conference, which is expected to take place right here tomorrow. And of course, when it happens like this, or at any place where a lot of people are gathered, then you get to know or understand that there are a lot of needs to satisfy. I'm talking about business activities right here at the Koforidua Technical University. And as you can see in the pictures right here, all the business people here are setting up their wares ahead of tomorrow, and it is very clear from what we are gathering that a lot of people will be coming here. But we should also understand that, TV3, we don't do it alone. We will be doing it with our sister stations, Onuya FM 95.1 and 3FM 92.7. Asempa, good morning.
Good morning, Commander.
We are live on New Day.
Yeah, sure.
Tell me, Onuya FM is doing this live as well to serve listeners or our viewers who would want to listen to the local language. Tell us, how is the coverage going to be like from here?
Okay, Commander, me and the share on show TV3 so near Casa Biabecoso, our Koforidua Technical University BI the Bromo. So far, you started program now, then the Eastern Regional Police Commander Ebeba, as well as the Far Commander Sobeba, and all the regional executive will be passing through any delegator so far Omaba. Jumedian Yano paper, Yabeyano Paniasia area, Nadia Koso, Koforidua Technical University BI the Bromo.
Okay, so like you heard him say, a lot of activities will be taking place here today, and we are not just covering today, but then we will be covering tomorrow as well. But then, as say Media General, the baby and Anna Esronko. This time, how different is it going to be from the Afufronina Ebeyano?
Okay, one of the things, Ben, is that you deploy a correspondent into the town itself. And in yes, a venue happen, and I had the news in Bifia Bromo. The Kosovo Chrome and Biambia Nina and Crawford on the reporting, and yet to me, alongside the Becoso Ewa venue Hankas, and they should stay tuned. The business aspect, the jokes, or whatever.
So, like you heard him say, you should just stay tuned to TV3, Onuya FM, and 3FM. Whatever is going to happen, all the side issues issues. We're going to bring them to you right on Unia FM 95.1 and 3FM. And we also have 3FM Winston Amwa here. Now, Winston, good morning, first of all. And I'm very sure you are aware that we are live on TV3NEWDAY. Tell us, how different is the coverage going to be?
Well, it's definitely going to be different. You know, we're the specialist, and as specialists, we always do things differently. Everything you need to know about the Delegates Conference, you will get to know. One important thing is a lot of things happen, you know, the few hours before the conference itself. So what we're going to do is to get you to understand everything that would be happening before the conference.
Okay, now, so side issues, how are you looking at it?
What do you mean by side issues?
We are talking about some of the interesting stuffs. You know, we don't only look at the main issue, the main event, but then there are a lot of interesting stuffs that will be happening here. What are some of the things that viewers and listeners in particular, when we're talking about 3FM, should expect to hear?
You know, it's important you get to know how people are campaigning around the last minutes. Okay, it's very important when you talk about side issues. In every election, lots of things happen. From now till 12 midnight, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., a lot of things are going to happen. Who's going to be giving what? I can tell you monies are going to change hands. How much will change hands and which candidate is actually giving those monies? You can trust us that would get you to know everything. All the accusations that are going to come out of this you know, conference and counter accusations, just stay with us. We will tell you everything. And of course, the most important thing also is that having been on the ground and having monitored the situation, we'll be able to do all the analysis and tell you who's likely to win, who might not win, and everything. And you can trust us that we certainly will be the specialist at the end of the day.
All right, thank you very much. That was Winston Amwa, and he is the host of the morning show on 3FM 92.7. And I also have with me here the Public Relations Officer for the Eastern Regional Police Command, that is DSP Ebenezer Tete. Good morning. You are welcome. This is live New Day. Now, tell us, you know, where a lot of people are gathered, and with such a huge event like this, of course, security is a very important issue here. How prepared is the police here?
We are fully prepared for the Congress, starting from today till Sunday, when there's going to be a Thanksgiving service at the International Central Gospel Church. So we are fully prepared. We are going to deploy as many police officers as possible. We are deploying 1,000 police officers. Okay. The 1,000 will not be converging here. There's an elaborate security plan for the whole event, starting from today till tomorrow, and then ending early Sunday morning. Starting from today, the delegates will start arriving. There's a plan to escort them to their various places of lodgement where they will be lodging. Some schools have been selected for them to go and put up, about 8 schools. We'll provide at least 10 police officers in each school. The only school that will be having about 20 police officers is the Pope Jones Secondary School because of the large numbers. Okay. Tomorrow, they will be escorted same to this venue grounds. The delegates are supposed to get access to the inner perimeter only if you are accredited. Okay. So after the accreditation, there will be a scan that will scan them to see whether you have any implement on your body. Okay. This is to ensure that nobody gets into the inner perimeter with anything that can injure somebody, or it can be a danger to himself or to other people. We are also going to deploy drones, okay, which will be managing whatever is going on. We anticipate that there will be a lot of disorderly crowd, here. So we have a lot of the operational teams who are also here, who will be managing the crowd. We have the SWAT, the Special Weapons and Action Team. We have the Rapid Deployment Force. We have the Counter-Terrorism Units. We have the other units that are action-oriented. So their job will be to manage the crowd and to ensure that we don't have any stampede on our hands here. There will even be a standby team, okay, stationed permanently at the headquarters that will be called to respond to any unforeseen, problem. Okay. We will have a lot of patrols both day and night within the metropolis, and even on the highway, we will have a lot of patrols. This is to ensure that we don't have any highway robbery attacks, especially when the delegates are arriving. So that is the plan that we have for everybody, including the media. We are going to ensure that we send police officers to the hotels where the media people, the creme de la creme, I mean the very, very important people where they will be lodging. We are all going to cater for everybody, and we expect that we get the needed cooperation from the public to have a successful conference.
All right, thank you very much. So like you heard him say, the Eastern Regional Police is very ready and set in terms of security to protect the entire university community, not just the entire university community, but then the whole of Koforidua as far as this particular conference is concerned. But like I mentioned early on, wherever a lot of people are gathered, business activities thrive. And in our subsequent report, we will give you an idea of how business is thriving here. Kwabna Edu Jemfi, Koforidua Technical University, TV3.
All right, so we'll get you more from there in the course of the day. We'll have a full coverage of the annual delegates Congress there. We'll let you know more about that. Our team is ready on all our platforms, Onu FM, 3FM, 3news.com, TV3, Connect FM, and Akuma FM in Kumasi. Stay right here with the Media General team. Now let's come back to the newspapers. The Ghanaian Times this morning says, we will maintain fiscal discipline. The Vice President is talking here after exiting IMF program. Now, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has assured the business and investor community of a government's commitment to work towards maintaining fiscal discipline even after exiting the IMF program. The government is putting in place measures to ensure irreversibility of the macroeconomic gains we have achieved so far. I understand that there are concerns in the investor community about fiscal discipline post the conclusion of Ghana's IMF. Now, so the measures he claims include a new law, a fiscal responsibility law to cap budget deficit not to exceed 5% for a fiscal year from 2019, along with limits for the debt to gross domestic product ratio, and establish an independent fiscal council to oversee the implementation of the fiscal policy. There's also the Treasury single account, and these are all expected to ensure that we don't eat too deep into our pocket. Gary, this is an issue that bedevils every new government. In fact, we can trace our journey back from 92, that every government that had left power since 92, Mr. Rawlings, Mr. Kufuor, and Mr. Mahama, had seen our pockets eating deep, even though there have been attempts to stop us from overspending. The Vice President says, when we exit IMF, we'll put in measures to ensure we don't overspend. Is this a promise we can?
No, I think it can be achieved. Why not? Fiscal discipline in simple language simply means that cutting your coat according to your size.
But is that what we do?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Fiscal discipline in simple language means cutting your coat according to your size. If your family size obviously is 3, a husband and a wife and 3 children, you know, and you must make sure that you do not do things that will exceed your budget. That is the whole thing about fiscal discipline. That you do not, go and inflate contracts. You have the contract sum possibly is maybe 200 Ghana or 300 Ghana. You say it is 1 million Ghana, and then the taxpayer has to now pay more for the same contract that 100 Ghana could have done. And you say it's 1 million. You have budget overruns. You understand? So I think that it can be achieved. Why not? I mean, it's a political commitment to ensure that whatever you plan that you want to do, you make sure that you discipline in public life. Because if you don't discipline public life, then clearly it will be a free-for-all. And free-for-all is not the way to go. So I think that when the VIP says that even after the IMF exit, they will maintain fiscal discipline, because now the understanding is that the IMF is checking the balance,
right, exactly,
and making sure how much you are getting in as your money. Extend that they are even controlling people that you can even employ. That until somebody dies, when somebody retires, or exit the public service before you can even now employ. You know, they are controlling everything in the public space. So clearly, I think that when they even go, the black man, like President Nkrumah said, can run his own affairs. You see, and the president has demonstrated enough that Ghana can move beyond a certain threshold. That's why I say Ghana beyond aid. Ghana beyond aid also in simple language means that let's win ourselves of dependency. Every time you are dependent on donors. Now these donor monies are also from taxation. Every donor money we take is from the taxation of the people in the country. You see, and somebody, every time giving you donor money, they end up, infiltrating everything and controlling everything that you do in your country. So we must take conscious steps to win ourselves. And that also means that we must ensure that the local businesses, we empower them. We must empower the local business for them to expand and employ. If they expand and then they can employ, people cannot be able to do. You see, that is why I have a concern sometimes with the complaint when they make that we are somewhat overtaxing them. I've heard those concerns. Because when you overtax, you squeeze them, and they're unable to expand. You understand? So I think that those concerns that VP is saying from the investor community, we should look at the concerns, address the concerns to ensure that government will put in place measures that will help this business to grow. Once they grow and then they expand, they can employ. Because you see, this economy should be driven by private sector. But we realize that government employs majority of people. But government cannot keep on employing. The private sector must be allowed to grow so that then they can let the economy grow. And we should export more, so that at least the dollar pressure, can come down. It's unfortunate that I see that the dollar now is almost 4.7, 4.6, thereabout. I think
it's about 4.8.
I think they should do something to make sure that the dollar comes down so that we don't have the dollar running into 5.0. It's a concern that they have raised. And any concern that comes up, I think that they must ensure that they work on it. That is the reason why Ghanaians put the government in place. So we must do everything possible to ensure that whatever concern that has been raised, they will address the concerns in the interest of the business community, which will also be in the interest of the larger economy.
Honorable Duasai, the key thing here is that these budget overruns happen during elections. And so if the IMF exit and we're into election and a government thinking of winning the election, will throw in all kinds of infrastructure, all kinds of resources into the economy because it wants to satisfy the voter. Then the budget overrun happens. How do we check it?
Well, for me, I think if anybody else said this, this whole statement you made was said by somebody else other than the vice president, I would have believed or probably attempt to believe what that person, or let me say, I would have grasped it a little bit better. But coming from the vice president, I don't believe him one bit. One bit. Yeah, and he's giving me too many reasons based on his past utterances, lectures that he held prior to NPP coming into government and all of that. He seems to love to talk a lot. Unfortunately, he has his followers hailing him and trying to make a king out of him and make a hero out of the things he says. Today, a lot of his theories are boomeranging over his head, because some of these statements he's making post-IMF. You are sitting here, IMF is even sitting here, and you are running over the budget. And you are telling us that when they go, you will stay within. How is that possible? How is that feasible? You understand? Even when the taps are on you, you are being held by the taps. You are running over. You are not, your revenues streams are not up to, you are unable to raise the revenues that you expect to raise, or your targets. It has dribbled you in the last almost 2 years. Because of that, you are unable to even bring reports, full year fiscal reports. You don't get it up to September. They come and, by the time the next budget cycle starts, they give you report up to September, and they have not been able to give you a full cycle report on anything. As we speak, we all know that the next budget review, this month of July, it's almost very soon. I don't know the date, but I'm sure it's going to come to Parliament shortly. And there is hints all over the place that they are going to increase taxes. Where is this notion of, taxes are, you cannot run a government with just taxes. We need to increase production and make sure that production will become more productive, so that out of production we can be able to, people will pay taxes, and then it will create the kind of economic environment that we all expect. Where is that theory? Where did it go? It's all gone out, fizzled out. So today they are strangulated. No, I look at where the dollar is. He himself is, he said 4.6. It's not 4.6. It's 4.82 as of yesterday. No, 4.6. 4.82. It's 4.6. As of yesterday. Joy FM. Black market. Joy FM radio, whatever, business news. Yesterday, please. 4.82. No, we are not talking black market here. I'm trying to please. I suspect that we are doing no. You see, these are the kind of things that Ghanaians listen, and it irks them a lot, because they are facing the truth. And then you, the spokespersons of government, make them look like, 4.6. Where have you been? This was like 3 weeks ago, 4.6. Wow. Today it is 4.82. Within 2 days, this week, it started from 4.7 something this week. And within 3-4 days, it shot to 4.82. The day is even now, just before. I said this week, from Monday, it was at 4.76 or something on Monday. Then within 3 days, it shot from there to 4.82. That is the truth. You understand? So if the businessman listening to you now, and you are mentioning 4.6, he thinks you are not being fair to them. Do you understand? I know you are a very fair, straightforward person, and I don't want to push you in that corner. Please, the truth is that things are not going very well. And the earlier somebody accepted these truths and found a better way to communicate it to people and calm their nerves, the better, than to try to make things look as if somebody, because this IMF thing, post-IMF, what is he trying to say? So at IMF, they're saying, it was the NDC trying to subtly push the blame somewhere. You understand? When IMF leaves, but hey, you have lived with it. The president himself, almost a year ago, said they were going to get them out in April this year. April came and they said no. The president said April. The finance minister came and changed it that same hour. That is not April, but it's November. As to whether they're even going to leave in November is another matter. Okay, so please, the system is not too pleasant. You made your point. Okay, people are not. We are wrapping up. Right, businesses are strangulating. Let him land. Businesses are strangulating. Okay, because look, you have to. And the worst we can see, go to the ports. People are struggling to pay duties and all of that. Okay, so when you come and sit here, the best thing you can tell them is, have patience, we are working on something and all that. You are actually telling him what to say. Rather than this posture of all is well and we are doing this. And okay, Gary, for the vice president, to be honest with you, the vice president, let me end with him. For me, I don't want to hear him ever talking in economics. It's better they found some people like Akoto said, they sound better when they are talking economics. You understand? He should keep quiet because he has never had anything right. Okay. Gary, I have run out of time. Wrap up for me. The question you asked, Swaga, he never answered the question. Which one? You see, he never answered the question. You asked the question that sometimes, or most of the time, heading towards elections. Elections, yes. That's budget overrun. He never answered the question. He never answered the question.
And he's just doing propaganda all over the place.
Which one is propaganda?
You see, right, let the truth be told.
Yes.
That if you look at the debts that were left by the NDC government prior to their exit in the books of government now, which government is paying those debts, you will marvel. I'm telling you. And these were projects all over the inflated projects. Oh, we've done this. They awarded several contracts. They didn't pay a dime for those contracts.
Which contracts?
Several of them.
No, mention
Go to Get Fund, go here. I'm telling the truth to you. Go and find out. Several contracts they awarded. Just you say, go and work. You to go and work. So you see work ongoing, but no payment was even, for even one of them. And this government is saddled with all these debt to pay.
Remember the single spine. You left money for it to be paid.
All right. I guess we need to wrap up our conversation.
You left money for it to be implemented. That is what governments do. Somebody will leave a debt for you to come and clear.
Okay. No, so don't worry. So now, give the government the space.
Okay. You have the space. Look for the money. You are strangulating people.
Give the government the space. All right. To look for the money to pay for the debt you left behind.
No. You just don't have what it takes.
That is the crux of the matter.
You don't have the
Gary Nimakwe is a member of the
to raise the money.
Team. He's also a legal practitioner. Honorable Kojo Edwasari is a former MP for Denton and a former presidential.
Is he coming again, Denton again?
Where he will take the decision. All right, thanks so much for staying here with us. Stay with us. We have sports right after this. But throughout the day, I will be in Koforidua for the Congress. Good morning once again.
Abugri be good man, no. I will see them me. Don't wait till they end. Give me time for pay. Abugri where you dey? Abugri where you dey? My friend let them hold me, I excuse myself. Respond to nature's call. On my way return, I will see no day. Abugri talk say, I will see take my money. I will see. Now there I trace, I will see catch out for drinking bottle. I will say, Mr. President.
Thing Akwesi did, he stole the money and he was at the drinking bar. Unfortunate incident for you there. But tell me, Yini Win, what does it mean? Where is it coming from?
Yeah, so this is folk music. Yeah, telling African stories and then things about Africa.
But what does Yini Win mean? What language is it?
Okay, Yini Win is it was taken from my real name, which is Godwin. Okay. Yeah, so I'm Efafra. The Yini means God, and then Win is just coming from the Godwin. So nice. I just joined the two
I'm just wondering, is this a pack of friends or your professionals who came together to form a group?
Yeah, we are professional musicians.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what you are holding because it's unique. What instrument is that?
Yeah, this is called koliko.
Koliko?
Koliko, yeah.
What language again?
Frafra.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're dominating with the frafra
Yes,
stuff.
yes,
okay,
yes,
but what does it do? I mean, how do you string it? It doesn't look like the regular guitar.
Yes,
That's why I'm asking. So what's unique about it?
Yes, this guitar has been made with just 2 strings. Yes, and it has a different kind of scaling. Okay. Aside the normal music scaling, we have the major scale, but this one normally works on the pentatonic scale.
Right.
Yes.
But you've got 2 different sets. Are they any different?
Yeah, the only difference is that the tuning has been done differently according to the keys.
Right.
Yeah, so I've tuned them on different keys.
Nice.
Yes.
But is it easy to play? Supposing I wanted to learn, how long would it take me?
It will take you the same time you used to learn a normal musical instrument.
Okay. And how many months, how many years is that?
You know, music.
3! That could have gotten me my medical degree like halfway.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Anyway, you guys are doing so well. We're grateful to have you here. But give us some music just to wrap up.
Okay.
We'll be having a discussion about relationships. So don't tune out and enjoy all the music UniWin has for us today. It's Friday. You know how we're doing it as we roll into the lovely weekend. Take us away then.
Okay.
What song are you giving us?
This song is entitled Infanti. It's called Mekota.
Oh, Jesus. You see, you took your time in saying that. What is that? Say it again.
But then in English, it means I'm going to set up a church.
Interesting. I like the English version. We'll stick to that. So take us away with some music.
Okay. So we go to B flat, B flat. My friend is a pastor. So Agri had a church in Accra. One day his church got burned down and he came to me and told me about it. So I asked, what exactly might have caused that incident? Then Agri told me he had a little quarrel with some pastor friends of his. So I was wondering, could pastors be this wicked? Wow. While we spoke, Mr. Agri angrily said this in his language. Fanti. Mekata sorrow! Mekata sorrow! Mekata sorrow, we crumble. I'm going to open a church in my hometown. Mekata sorrow! Mekata sorrow! Mekata sorrow, we crumble. Sorry, Abby, wherever you are.
because he's going to open a church in his hometown. Those of you who have bad minds this morning, take it off. It's a good song. Definitely. A lot of people are springing up churches, so I'm sure that is just in line. But it's time for us to talk about relationships. A lady is in a dilemma as to whether she should get married to an educated but poor man or a rich but illiterate man. What a dilemma. We'll be discussing this in studio, but let's see what the girl has to say. What is her real question to us here this morning?
A graduate of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I'm 28 and willing to settle. I have two men in my life who are willing to settle with me. One is an illiterate who is very wealthy. He paid my fees throughout my stay in the university. He also took care of my mom ever since my dad passed away. The other one is a graduate without a job who is absolutely poor and also willing to settle with me. I want you to help me to choose between these two men.
So I've got the controversial Councillor Lutrot in studio and also Portia Kobna-Menano. We're going to be discussing to find answers to this young lady's dilemma. Councillor, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. And congratulations on your delivery.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Portia, good morning to you too.
Thank you so much.
But let me start with you, Portia.
Very big thank you first before
to
you
who?
To Catherine. I mean, on behalf of the TV3 crew, all of you, 3FM, it's only Catherine who attended my adoration. I invited everybody.
Anyway, I'll give you that flash.
So thank you very much, Catherine, for coming. And it's a confirmation that you are ready to be the next online, my next wife in the making. So continue.
I know if Catherine was here, she'd have just given it to you right there, but let me not even go there. Portia, so if you were in this lady's shoes, who would you marry?
I would marry the illiterate poor man.
Really?
Yes, please.
You think you're sure you can do that?
I'm very
Why?
sure.
What are your reasons for that?
Being an illiterate on its own has no advantage. It has no advantage at all. An illiterate is someone who cannot read and write. If you cannot read and write, how do you build your knowledge? Through reading books. We build knowledge through reading books. So if you cannot read books to build your knowledge, I think you are missing, sincerely. I would go in for the illiterate poor man because money on its own is subjective. Your rich could be having 20,000 Ghana cedis in your account. And having the girl coming from a place where her fees was paid for, her mom was taken care of, I'm pretty sure the rich illiterate was extremely wealthy. So spending so much money from such a person, she might think that she might think that a man who does not meet the standard of the rich poor man is not worthy of her. That's what I would say.
You mean the rich illiterate man?
Yes.
Those are the two men we're talking about.
Rich illiterate.
You're rich and uneducated and poor but educated.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your final choice?
I'll go for the poor but educated.
Okay.
Literate. Poor, literate. Okay. Yes, I'll go for
that. But will knowledge solve your issues? What about money? What about the finances you need to take care of the home, to run your, say if you have a business? What about that?
As I said earlier, money on its own is subjective. Me having money, I can say I have 20,000 in my account and I'm poor because I can't buy the vans that I want to drive in.
Okay. Look at how Councillor is looking at you very curiously. Councillor, what's your thought on that?
Well, thank you very
much. What would you advise her to do?
I mean, I was shocked he was going to marry a poor, educated young man. It means, if your parents are watching, they will be very disappointed in you.
But that's you assuming.
No, I'm just imagining. No, I'm just imagining. Say, I buy you a with this hair of yours. Graduate students who are poor too, they are very consuming. People who are very poor, they impregnate women faster than those who are rich.
Are you aware? By statistics?
I mean, yeah, by statistics. Anything I do, I say statistics. So I want those who want to challenge to also do their statistics and come and demand my. I don't give them my results. But I'm saying that people who are poor and are not working, they impregnate women faster. So once you marry a poor, uneducated guy, immediately the first thing he wants to prove to you is that his inability is not disability. And to be sure, not come back. But you see, the point is that this girl has no problem.
Okay.
And let me explain to you. She says she's in a dilemma on who to choose. Yeah. No, she's lying. She's a big liar.
Why do you say that?
I'll tell you she's a big liar. Watch carefully. There was a rich man in your life who was not educated.
Right.
But you are indebted to.
Because he took care of her.
That's the first thing. You are indebted to this man who is very rich but cannot speak English and cannot read and write. But you're indebted to him. So in the first place, as you're working, you don't have a choice of marrying any other person. Because you've allowed yourself to be taken care of by this man whose intent was to marry you. That's the first thing.
But what if that intent was not made right from start? Maybe she thought he was just to help her because he's rich. And so doling out a few amounts of money here and there just to support you, I mean, does not necessarily mean
for her to come out and say that there are two men in her life means that this Mr. Sponsor is interested in making this lady the wife. Yeah. So all the investment was as a result of making sure that you will pay back as a wife.
But if you give money, you pay back by being a wife.
Unfortunately for us in our world now, all the big men who are helping, the best thing, most if you get 10 of them, 8 of them, the outcome is to have something from the women.
Portia, do you agree with that?
I do not agree.
Well, I usually I don't sit on TV or on any platform for anybody to agree with me, actually. So if you don't agree, I'm very, very happy you don't agree. I mean, has to agree with me is one of the last.
No, but she will be the best person to speak in that regard because she's female and she's probably being in a situation where some elderly people may have approached her to say, we want to help you.
No, those ones,
I want to find out.
And I'm saying few. I told you that only 2% out of the 100%, 10, only 2 will be ready to dish money to her, and she will not be ready to be paying back.
Okay.
Well, I'm telling you on record, if you walk to our universities now, a lot of the girls on campus, most of them are practicing ashawo.
Portia,
I'm telling you.
You agree?
It's a lie.
Well, she will say it's a lie. I'm not saying what I'm saying.
No, but she would also know. Maybe
I mean, which campus is she on? Because I can specify campus. These are all the campuses are doing. But the greatest campus in Ghana, that's more. Go to all the campuses Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. People are off school. They are not going home. They are not home.
Parents.
Why you know here when one student went with one former deputy minister for a trip and died on the way? Why you know here when somebody was crossing the street to go for a condition and a car knocked them?
I mean, will that not be the few?
Not the few. Majority are going there because the things they have on campus, they come by. Your daughter was going to, you didn't give her a fridge. She has a fridge. She has a microwave. So when she's graduating, she's selling it on campus. So I'm saying that most of them on campus, they are practicing this particular form of ashawo to make sure that they graduate. Okay. But most of them practicing ashawo, the men are not even ready to come back. But I have stories in my office where there are boys who are not educated, are paying fees of educated girls. When they graduate, they feel so reluctant and shameful to introduce such a man as a husband. So I'm saying the girl's problem is that the family and herself have allowed such a man to invest into her life. Now she has to pay back, and pay back is marriage. So she has no problem.
But what if the girl works and is able to pay back what the man gave?
Was it an investment?
Quantify?
Did I give you money to go and pay back?
But what if there was no agreement in the first place?
So who is telling her? So who is telling her to add to the story that there's a man who paid my fees and helped my family?
Because maybe the man, suppose I'm giving you a scenario. We go to the same church. He sees me. He realizes I need to go to school.
Church.
Or my father's ill. And I tell him and he says, well, I'm a church, leader, elder, whatever. I'll help you because I'm in the capacity to.
Some of them are more dangerous. Church elders who help in church. Because the Christian body has its own stories. But I'm saying that this girl's story, when I listen carefully, she's not just in a dilemma, but she has now graduated and has now discovered that the man who was paying the fees is an illiterate.
Portia, I still need your views on this because supposing you were really in the girl's shoes, are you telling me you'd be able to live with that poor, educated guy? Because, I mean, he's poor for a reason. He definitely has education but hasn't been able to land himself a job that is probably well paying. And so he probably may not be able to take care of you. Do you even think your parents will agree to this?
I think my parents will agree to this totally. Because at the end of the day, I looked into the guy. I saw so many things. My things I want my to-be husband to have. Right. I saw it in the poor illiterate. When it comes, the reason I wouldn't go for the rich illiterate is because the word illiterate there spoils the whole thing. You might have taken care.
Chopping illiterate money.
Yes, I will chop it. At the end of the day, I was trying. Thank you, Daddy. I didn't have money at the time, but you opted. You saw my suffering.
He's not your daddy.
Sir.
Or you want to be her sponsor? Is that term?
Oh, I don't do that. I'm not an NGO actually.
So let's continue.
Before then, You saw my plight. You saw I was going through a lot. And you wanted to help a young lady, a damsel, who was going through a lot. At the time, I would gladly take your offer because I needed it. And I'll probably tell my parents that this young man here wants to help me because he knows I need help. I will gladly take it. If you want your money back, I would give it back to you because I plan on working as an educated person. I plan on using my resume to go search for a good job, earn lots of money and pay you back if that is what you want. But to stay with an illiterate, no, it won't help. I can't have.
But we have, Portia, let me just give you a scenario because we do have illiterates really who are doing very well in their field. We've got some footballers who never exactly, and they're employing literate people. And so, how does that figure out for you?
Okay. So, in respect to the illiteracy, an illiterate is somebody I cannot have informed conversation with.
Says who?
Not necessarily.
Says who?
Says me. When it comes to...
Hey, then you befriended only people who are literate.
No.
Have you had an illiterate friend before?
I have.
So has one made a mistake to kiss you before, like an illiterate kiss you before?
No, you dare not. You have your...
Hey, mama, bro.
You can't cross that boundary. But
to give you a kiss, they can't cross that boundary as an illiterate.
No, it depends on
educated boys.
I want to have you cross that. And with that, in respect to that, when you should, with picking a spouse, I should be able to communicate with you because a woman, you need a sense of communication.
But are you going to speak English at home?
Not necessarily, but the world revolves around English-speaking countries.
So
the world is in such a way that even we're speaking right now, we are speaking in English. So if the man I'm with, I'm seated here with you guys, and I tell him, husband, I'm going here, I'm going to TV3. And he sits behind the TV looking at us like a kid watching cartoons, but doesn't even understand the English they are speaking. Just watching me raise my hand. So, no, I don't know. I want to come back home and say,
is that a compulsion to watch you on TV3?
No, that is what a husband's supposed to do.
To watch you on TV3?
Be my helper. Advise me.
My God.
If you can't do this, I don't see where I'm taking you to. No. And you're not going to help me in life.
Chancellor, you seem to have reservations, but I'll give you the chance to talk.
You can't help me. And you don't even know the constitution, you don't know your responsibilities, you don't know your duties. Anyone can just cheat you because you don't know.
But do you necessarily need English and schooling to get that? Formal education, as it were.
Formal education? Oh, not necessarily. We have formal and informal education. But even with both, you should be able to read and write.
Articulate.
At least. No, you don't have to be extremely fluent in the English language, but you should understand.
A few words and sentences.
And if you don't know any of this, sincerely, it will be hard. It will be hard.
Counselor, your final word.
I just think that this man must force and marry this girl and divorce her after 2 weeks.
Which one?
This girl.
The rich, illiterate.
The illiterate rich man should force by his riches and marry this girl like Portia and divorce her after 2 weeks.
Why?
Because you see, if this girl is thinking like Portia, then there are a lot of wicked girls in this system. Because you can't be enjoying this, money of a man you believe is an illiterate, and you now get out there. Because if you are very good and you see this man being very helpful to you, one of the things is that the first mistake you did was to allow him to go into your body by investing. But he can also come into the limelight and say, well, I think that if he's only English and he's in love with me, I spend this money, I can even assist him to go through adult education because I'm educated, he's paid my fees. That's one side. I'm saying this guy has no problem because any woman who tells you I'm in dilemma for 2 men is confused, because in life, you can never be torn between 2 men who want to marry or 2 women. You need to first establish what you want to have as a husband in future. So this girl has no mind of who she wants to have as a husband, but is going to find this poor guy that you want to go and develop. And I want to carry this poor guy. If by chance this girl comes to choose you and marry, please marry her as quick. Once your money comes, divorce her quick like a flash of light. Because this mentality of people who are not educated is very embarrassing to work with an educated man. But I met a woman who has married not too worthy, but an educated man went for a program. When he got there, no one was speaking English. Hey, me kundi na santi semnu wodu on kabrofo and to kabrofo fimo. That's what the woman just did, and I knew that the husband didn't speak English. So this is a woman who was protecting the husband. Madam, you've not seen poverty before. But if truly there's a poverty tree in your house and your family want you to uproot and they hear you speaking like this, if you don't take care, because
Baba, should she be used as a portal for alleviating poverty?
If you deliver a woman You are uprooting poverty. Who about who to Yasi? So who Bema? Who do you hear be feel? I say,
if you won't fear, you've brought poverty now.
See, I did your brain as well, Babako. You're the next son.
You balance the equation.
Not the Berman, you
rob Peter to pay for, yes.
And to walk back and you know, be fear, it's a Sika be fear. Now, when your bar say, no, like I said, I'm going to bring a 4 graduate unemployed association member to come and marry you in my house. I will pour hot water on your feet. Your face will be a crime. Make was a Nusuboni or Sumbo Nyepe. Ubo be assume a police station. Baboni Penisu, who starts, no job if you call a daughter like this.
Anyway, on that note,
as I live on that note.
Thank you very much.
Between two. I'm always available because I said, girls like this, when we finish our work on here, because I finished with Catherine, 0277.
We'll allow you to give a number here. You do that outside.
0277 1696 44.
Everybody knows where to get you. Anyway, let me say thank you to Councillor Lutrot and Portia Kobna Menano for discussing this. I'm sure that lady has a question answered and she'll know what to do after this. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more here on New Day.
And of course, we're making your weekend a great one. Ben Bracco there. He's right here in the studios. I'm sure you missed him. He's around and you can catch him all the time at +233 Pub. The man is here with me. Good morning. You're looking good and great.
Really? Oh, thank you.
Yes, I saw Ben Bracco when I was a kid, and I'm seeing the same Ben Bracco this morning. So, what's up? What have you been up to?
Oh, I've been all over the place, you know, do a lot of traveling and playing, you know, but I'm now reintroducing myself to the Ghanaian crowd, especially the younger people. And so we're doing like a tour of Accra, doing clubs and pubs and, you know. That's my manager over there. You should have been here to talk about it.
Which means that you went off the scene for some time?
Yeah, of a sort. I mean, I was a bit quiet. You know, I've been doing gigs, but you know, not
on that large
not on that
scale,
level.
large
Yeah,
platform.
yeah. But now, yeah, I want to come back.
Okay. Now let's talk about your music now. Now you were one of those who brought that kind of what I call the exciting, the bubbly high life into our system. We used to know the old ones. Then Ben Bracco is on stage, Charles Samuel is on stage. Now you guys changed the face of our life. How are your fans receiving that type of high life today?
It's very interesting because, like, my music is my basic music that Ghanaians know is over 30 years.
See?
Yes, and it's still selling. You know, and the younger people still love it. So a lot of them, they love it because their parents played it all the time when they were kids. You know, so they got used to it, and I'm very happy that, you know,
people so like your music.
Yeah,
the likes of Etue and Co are very well listened to.
Oh yes,
they get a lot of playtime.
A lot of playtime.
You are reintroducing yourself. So what have you added to what you used to do in the past? What should we expect?
Well, we are reintroducing ourselves, and then we're going to bring out some new releases, you know, and then what I think the scene needs is good high life of the old type, you know, but some of the older musicians, a lot of the older musicians are not producing new music.
Is there a reason why they are not?
I think there's a reason. The thing is that the whole scene has changed, and they're not used to, you know, the current system of releasing music, you know, because it's all so different now. So it takes a lot of guts and, you know,
to be able to do that.
And
that is what Ben Bracco wants to change.
Yes. Yes.
What exactly are you doing? The tour, and what exactly are you doing to sell yourself, reintroduce your music?
Well, we're going to be doing some remixes of the old tracks with some new artists involved. You know, we're going to have some of the current artists, you know, working with me, and then we're going to be introducing some new tracks as well, but high life.
Typical high life.
Yeah.
Like the one we're hearing on the background now.
Yes, yes.
So and that is what you expect the young guys to get interested in, because you think that what we're seeing now isn't that kind of high life the young guys are interested in.
Yeah, this is another type of high life that people are bringing out now, and it's good. And it's good. But what we did too is good.
Right.
Okay, but you know, I have my own style, and you know, I'm going to be bringing out more of my own style, but you know, in a more modern fashion. Yeah. But it'll still be Ben Braco. When you hear it, you know it's Ben Braco.
It's Ben Braco because of the voice and then your style.
My style.
Now, so nothing is changing. It's just you're adding on.
Yeah, nothing is changing, but a lot is changing too, because we are revamping the music to fit the modern era. You know what I mean? You cannot do the same old thing. You know, you've got to be dynamic and creative and progressive with the music. Yeah.
The kind of music you do, what are the stories behind it?
Well, really, we talk about society. We talk about things that happen. In fact, musicians are supposed to reflect society to itself. They're like a mirror, you know. So you talk about things that are meaningful to people. You talk about their issues, you know. So people love it for various reasons, especially what you're talking about. And hopefully, if the music is good enough, then it reflects what the lyrics are saying.
So you do a lot of playing at Plus 233 Pub?
Yeah.
And other places in Accra?
Yeah, and other places in Accra.
So you can this morning push you to do a freestyle for me?
Freestyle? No, we don't do freestyle.
I wanted you to just sing one of your favorite lines for me in any of your
Well, usually what I do is I invite people to Wamra, yola se. What's Conga Casa? Betsy Guitar Boy. Original girl.
I like this one. I used to like this one so much when I was somehow around school. Ben Braco, good old Ben Braco there. So a lot is expected from him. But we're wrapping up our conversation. So you say you're touring Accra. What other places, where can we find you?
Well, we're going to be playing at Plus 233 at Kiki Bees.
Right.
You know Kiki Bees?
Right.
Beautiful place. And we're going to be playing at Gold Coast. We have so many venues.
Across the city?
Yeah, piano bar. Yeah, across the city, yeah.
Teshi, piano bar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and these are all weekend shows?
Yeah, these are all mainly weekend shows.
Mainly weekend shows. So
in fact, yesterday we did what they call Carbon, eh? Yeah.
Right.
You know Carbon?
I know Carbon. I know. So your fans will meet you there.
Yes, tomorrow will be a big one.
Okay, all right. So let's wrap up. To your fans, speak to your fans, tell them to meet you wherever they can find you, and then we'll wrap up our conversation.
Yes. Well, tomorrow at Plus 233, we're going to do a grand show with various different artists, and I'm going to be reintroducing myself. And my fans who do not get the opportunity to see me, I'm at Plus 233 tomorrow. And then I'll be at other venues, just so that other people who do not get the opportunity to see great, good high life, you know, can get the opportunity.
All right, Ben, wish you all the best. And to your fans, go out there and be part of it. Ben Braco is the man you've been listening to. His shows are all over. You can be part of it, starting from Plus 233 tomorrow. Have a great weekend, and see you next week, but stay right here on TV3. A lot more coming up in the course of the day. My name is Bright Nananfa. Have a good morning once again.